just before I do, like, just you touching on trauma, just like ping something in me that I want to mention, which is, and I'm someone that's been through some really significant and horrifying physical and sexual assault. And after I went through that, I spent a lot of time trying to be out of my body. And you do get stuck in your head a lot. And those spiral thoughts really, really happen. And it's such a devastating side effect of trauma, particularly sexual assault, because the very thing that is the most pure, beautiful thing in the world, which is your own body as a vehicle for pleasure. That's truly what I think all our bodies are, and all that our bodies are, in my mind anyway. You get so dissociated from it. So all of these practices really, really help bring you back into your body. And I can speak firsthand as someone that has used these to heal through trauma and sexual trauma specifically, and as someone who's helped hundreds of women do the same thing. It might feel really challenging at first, but it's really going to help heal. And a really important piece that was just kind of coming to me when you were saying that is, like, often when we've been through trauma, when we have any type of negative emotion, we either consciously or unconsciously associate it with the trauma and think, this might be from this, even if your trauma is like a little t trauma. So it's like something that happened in childhood, like your parent told you you're an idiot for doing something, but you kind of held on to it. And all that actually does is reinforce the neural pathways. And the past is in the past. It's already happened. It's over and done with. It doesn't really exist in that way, in the tenuous nature of reality. I'm getting much more esoteric than I expected to. So what I was going to say is, like, particularly for people that have experienced trauma, and particularly for people that experience sexual trauma, I couldn't recommend these practices enough, particularly the practice of just feeling and not associating. And if you feel a little bit sad, like, lay down on the ground and just let yourself feel sad, and really fucking let yourself feel sad. Like, cry, scream, howl, yell into pillows. I like screaming in the bath, under the water, punch things. Like, do what you need to actually fully embody those emotions, but move them through you. Don't let them get stagnant. Don't get stuck on them. Don't create those thought spirals on them. Like, take actionable steps. Like, you might want to attend a self-defense class. Meredith Gold's one is amazing, but just like letting yourself come back to the body as your source of truth, wisdom, power, love, all of the goodness in the world, and just start taking slow steps to reclaim what you feel was taken from you, but never really was, and has always been your birthright, and just kind of waiting for you to feel safe enough to come back to it. So that's what I would say about trauma. And answer your question of embodiment practices. Yes. So anything that brings you back into the body. So for me, dance is a huge one. I will dance to like one song in between every client I have all day. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Probably only 20 to 30% of the time I actually want to dance. Like, I'm not interested in it most of the time. And I'm like, no, I could be sitting down. I could be typing up notes. I could be prepping in any other way, shape, or form. But as soon as I start dancing, or at the longest, like halfway through a song, I really start breathing more deeply and coming back to myself and feeling good and feeling grounded. And then I go into that next session really centered and really awake and able to listen. So I just wanted to say that before I get into more specific about the embodiment practices, because I don't think people talk about that enough. The fact that you probably won't want to do your self-care a lot of the time. And it's about committing to yourself because you're worth it, and acknowledging that the reason you don't want to do it is exactly what I was saying earlier. It's nonsense thoughts. It's things looping around. Like, literally this morning today, I had a ritual bath scheduled for myself that was really important and really magical. And I sat here on my phone doing nothing on Instagram for 15 minutes instead of going and setting it up. And then I was like, what am I doing? Go and get in there, get it done. So you're not always going to feel like you want to do it, but it's important that you commit to yourself. So embodiment practices are definitely dance, any type of movement that feels really good to you. So it doesn't have to be traditional dance. In fact, my sensual dance meditation rarely ever, if ever, is traditional dance. Yoga is really good because it particularly combines the breath and the body back together. Going for a walk. One of my mentors once told me, if you're ever stuck, you just get dressed and walk around the block of your house. I don't care if you don't want to do it. You get it done. You stuff your hands in your pockets and you just walk. and it 100% of the time will shift your energy. Even if it's like a 2% improvement, that's better than before you left. So just being able to drop back into the body, and it helps engage in like the tantra, the eroticism of life, where you're being more present. I was talking about this with a client recently because I talk a lot about everyday tantra, and she told me in a session earlier in the week, actually it was last week, that she did it while doing the dishes. And she was like, it was so fun, and it flew by, and it was so lovely, and the suds were all tickling me, and the water was all warm, and my plates and dishes were all hard, and I really enjoyed the difference in the texture, and then the sponge was scratching, and I was like, whew, you're making me hot in here. Like, it was so sexy, like hearing her about her doing her dishes. And all of your everyday moments can be like that. There's this beautiful expression, I'll butcher it because I always do, but it's something like, before enlightenment, chop the wood. After enlightenment, chop the wood.
Yeah.
And if you transfer enlightenment to be sensuality, tantra, anything, self-love, any of those kind of placeholder words, which really just mean innate goodness and joy,
Mm-hmm.
at every moment, like there's no need to wait for anything. Like whatever you're doing the rest of the day, I promise you, if you practice, commit, and keep bringing yourself back when you fuck up, which I do all the time, you will feel a really positive change. And like I say that I fuck up all the time because it's important to know that I literally fuck up all the time. And I think for some reason, people think I just float around all day being like sensual and juicy and being like, hi, how's things going? Ooh. And I'm not. Like, I also get stuck in my masculine. I also get stuck in work overdrive. I also forget to engage in my sensuality practices. So, but when I do, I'm gentle with myself, and I'm patient, and I'm kind, and I ask for help, and I recommit. And that's what I really want people to learn how to do, instead of like expecting themselves to be perfect immediately, because it's not going to work.
Yeah. One of the things I always tell my clients is like to treat yourself the way you would treat your best friend, because I know that if one of my friends talked to me the way I talk to me, I would not be friends with them. Right. So when I catch myself, saying something that's, one of those negative thought patterns or whatever, it doesn't happen nearly as much anymore because I've been practicing it for a long time. But, I slip up, we all slip up, right? Like we all make mistakes, but just, the being kind to yourself part is so essential to becoming self-accepting, right?
Yeah. And like, honestly, this is such a weird, petty thing, but it's helped me so much. And it's helped heaps of my clients too. So I'm keep saying it, is there was a time where I was really sort of hitting a wall with my self-love and self-care and slipping up a lot. And I had this thought of like, I don't know how it came to me. It was just an intuitive thought, but who is making money? Who is benefiting from me feeling this way? And the more I thought about it, like the core answer to that is rich old white guys. And I'm not fucking about that. Like, I don't want them to make money off me feeling shitty. And I feel like it seems petty and odd, but from the moment I embrace that mindset, like every time I feel the pings of it, I'm like, nope, 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 nope. You don't get my money today.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like so much of the marketing, like you have to be thin, you have to be, your hair be straight, or your whatever it is, right? Like there's all those like 5 million messages that we're getting. Like if you save enough money and you go away to this resort, then you will finally be happy, right? If this, then that. Like happiness comes at the end, and that's just, they do that so that way you'll buy their products.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm all for self-improvement. Like, don't get me wrong, I am. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel or look differently in your body, for example. But if you're waiting to feel good about yourself, if you're waiting to deserve love and care, if you're waiting to feel sexy until you achieve that, that's really problematic. So instead, how much can you love and accept and appreciate your body exactly as it is now? And with love from that space, you can create change. Like, I struggled for years with an eating disorder to the point that I was hospitalized multiple times. And so I know all about obsessive working out, weight control, all of that. One of the most profound changes I made as I started getting healthy years after being out of the hospital, and I felt like I actually could work out again without it creating a relapse, is I noticed I would count as I'd work out. So say I'm doing push-ups, I'm like 1, 2, and I'm counting them out. And I thought, well, why am I counting? Like my body knows how many push-ups it wants to do. And so instead, I just said a nice thing about myself every time. I was like, you're pretty, you're funny, you're kind, I love you. And with every push-up, I just said something nice about myself. And I still do that at the gym now, like this many years later. So creating the shifts that you might want from a place of profound love and self-acceptance is going to have beautiful results compared to trying to create change in your life because you hate yourself or you feel fundamentally not deserving of pleasure and goodness and love and care.
How does someone like make that shift though, right? Because, you know, is it just like faking it till you make it?
It's actually something I get asked a lot from clients, and it's a little hard for me to say, to be honest, because I have a really like black and white mind. Like I quit things like that. Like the second I'm done, like I remember I was sick of smoking cigarettes and I was like addicted to smoking cigarettes. And the second I decided I was done, I was just done. Like I just have a mindset like that. So when I kind of realized who was making money off of me hating myself, not to say that it was easy after that, but like the switch kind of flipped. And I share that with clients, and only for some of them it resonates. And I think more so for people, it's just practicing it over and over again. So maybe not fake it till you make it, but like, okay, so let's just say you really hate your body and you've tried so many different things psychologically to like it more and they haven't worked. I don't think faking it till you make it's going to work, but I bet you there's like one thing you like about yourself. Hopefully you can find one thing you like about your body, even if it's like, I have really knobbly, weird knees and I think they're kind of cute and funny. So like that was something that I used when I hated everything else about myself. And so I would say like, I love my knobbly, weird knees. They're so cute. Or if you really can't find that, praise yourself in ways that are practical. So that's another tool I used a lot. I love my legs. They are so strong and they help me do so much and they carry me wherever I need to go. I'm so grateful for them and I love them. And going through all of your body parts in that way. So I'm always looking for, and it's a manifestation trick, it's a sex magic trick, but looking for where is there a truth? Where is there truth here? So let's just go sexy for a minute. Let's say you really struggle with having orgasms. Let's say you have them reliably, but they take a really long time and you need to come in, like you need to be in a very specific way, specific position, specific toilets, super specific, takes a long time. Both those things are absolutely fine, but let's say you want it to be different. So then you would think about how that level of specificity can bring you so much pleasure and how good that feels. So then connecting into that feeling and thinking, I love how much pleasure I can feel. I am a multi-orgasmic being that just every cell in my being is wired for pleasure. So finding that little bit of truth and then really building off of it. And yeah, that's like a classic manifestation trick that I've used to get like every house I've ever lived in, every car I've ever driven, my fiance, but it works really well for your body too and for your self-love too. But really all of these things work and help, but it's going to need to be really personal for you.